Life will break you. Not once, not twice. It will break you until you forget your own strength, until the voice in your head stops sounding like you and starts echoing every failure you swore you left behind. Life will test the walls of your will, beat on the doors of your patience, and see how long you'll bleed before you rise. But here's what you must remember. Difficulty is not the enemy. It is the invitation to become what you say you are, to step into what you believe you're made of. Nobody escapes pain. Nobody avoids hardship. Nobody walks through this life untouched by fire. But some, a rare few, emerge not just unburned, but reborn, sharper, wiser, unshakable. And that is not luck. That is a choice, a path, a series of steps taken by those who refuse to be defined by what happened to them and instead define themselves by how they rise. And the first step is this: radical acceptance. Not passive, not surrender, but radical, conscious, soul-deep acceptance of what is, of what's happened, of where you are. Because denial is the first chain. You cannot defeat what you refuse to face. Stop arguing with reality. Stop wishing for a different past. You are not here to undo it. You are here to transcend it. Own it. All of it. The scars, the setbacks, the broken pieces. Because nothing begins until you do. And once you've accepted what is, step into the second truth. Inner command. Life might be chaos out there, but your mind must be a fortress. You can't control the waves, but you can become a better captain. Start with your thoughts. Interrogate them. Rewire them. Replace "why me" with "watch me." Replace "this is too much" with "I was made for this." Discipline your inner world like a warrior prepares for battle, because every day is a battle, and the war is always won first in the mind. The third step is clarity. Pain fogs your vision. It blurs your goals. It convinces you that survival is all there is. But you are not here to survive. You are here to direct. Sit with yourself. Strip away the noise. What do you want? Who do you want to become? What would victory look like in this storm? Define it. Write it. Burn it into your focus, like a lighthouse in a hurricane. Without clarity, every step feels like wandering. But with clarity, every storm becomes a step. Now comes the fourth step, purpose-driven pain. Most run from pain, but the rare few, they mine it. They pull the gold out of the darkness. They ask, what is this teaching me? Who is this shaping me into? Because pain is a sculptor. Brutal, yes, but honest. It cuts what doesn't belong. It burns away what's false. And if you can hold your pain with purpose, it will build you. Let every tear water your roots. Let every scar become your armor. Let every heartbreak sharpen your edge. You are not just surviving this, you are becoming something through it. Then comes the fifth step, massive personal ownership. No blame, no pointing fingers, no victim mindset. Whether you caused it or not, your life is your responsibility. That's not cruelty. That's power. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone to fix it, you begin. You become the architect, the builder, the one who says, if it's to be, it's up to me. You can't always control what breaks you, but you can control what you do with the pieces. Pick them up, build again, stronger, wiser, smarter. This is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. The sixth step, relentless action. You will not think your way out of a dark season. You will not overanalyze your way into healing. You will move. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. Progress is the antidote to despair. You don't need to know the whole path, just the next right step. Take it, and then the next, and then the next, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because every step you take in difficulty is double the strength. This is where resilience is born. This is where momentum begins. This is how mountains are moved, one stubborn faithful step at a time. And when you move, step 7 emerges. Environment engineering. You cannot outgrow your environment if it constantly reminds you of who you used to be. Clean it, change it, cut what drains you, cultivate what fuels you. The people, the spaces, the conversations, they either sharpen your fire or snuff it out. Surround yourself with those who speak to your future, not your failure. And become the kind of presence that commands growth in others too. Build a world that matches your mission. Let nothing around you contradict the vision within you. And then step 8, emotional mastery. You are allowed to feel. You are not allowed to be owned by your feelings. Emotions are messengers, not masters. Feel the sadness, but don't drown in it. Feel the anger, but channel it. Feel the fear, but walk anyway. Master your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by leading them. Name them. Move through them. Use them. You are not weak for feeling. You are powerful when you harness that feeling. And what do you harness it for? That brings us to step 9, creative reinvention. Life's difficulties are often disguised invitations to evolve, to create a new way of living, a new system, a new self. Don't just survive the storm. Redesign yourself through it. Let hardship give birth to innovation, to new routines, to new ways of thinking, to a version of you that wasn't even possible before the pain arrived. And when the world says, you've changed, smile and say, exactly, because change was always the point. And then comes the 10th step, spiritual grounding. Whatever your anchor, faith, values, principles, return to it. Let it hold you steady when everything else shakes. Let it remind you this pain is not permanent. This struggle is not your identity. You are anchored to something greater than the moment, to truth, to calling, to eternity. That grounding is not weakness. It is your root system. The deeper the roots, the stronger the storm must be to move you. The 11th step, gratitude in the grind. This is not about fake smiles. It's about warrior vision, seeing the value in the battle. Being grateful not because it's easy, but because it's forging something eternal in you. Thank the difficulty not because it's pleasant, but because it's purifying. Gratitude in pain doesn't mean you like it. It means you own it. And finally, the 12th, most unstoppable step, recommitment. Not once, not twice, every day, every morning, every breath. You recommit to your vision, your future, your highest self, because life will test your consistency more than your intensity. But if you wake up and recommit again and again and again, there is nothing you cannot overcome. Nothing that can bury you, nothing that can stop you. Because you are no longer just reacting to life, you are rising through it. So rise. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not with anger, but with alignment. Not with fear, but with a ferocity rooted in clarity. Because from this moment forward, you do not see difficulties as detours. You see them as doors. Doors to deeper strength, sharper wisdom, unshakable resilience. And now, you know how to walk through them. Head high, heart open, feet grounded. Because now, you don't crumble under pressure, you crystallize. Now, you don't flinch when things fall apart, you forge new things from the rubble. Now, you don't beg for rescue, you build the ladder. The world may not see the war you fight inside, but it will feel the force of who you've become because of it. Because you are no longer just surviving this life. You are shaping it with every thought, every step, every choice that says, I do not retreat. I reclaim. Reclaim your vision. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your name, not the one the world gave you, but the one that was always written inside. The name of a builder, a leader, a finisher, a force. And when the next wave comes, and it will, you'll smile. Not because it's easy, but because you remember who you are now. You've walked through fire, and you came out carrying light. And that light, that unbreakable flame, it doesn't just illuminate your path, it lights the way for others. Because the truest mark of someone who's overcome real difficulty isn't the scars they wear, it's the strength they give away. It's the way they speak life into broken souls. It's how they show up for others when no one showed up for them. It's how they lead with presence, not performance. With peace, not pretense. That is the legacy of the overcomer. Not just to survive, not just to succeed, but to serve from the overflow of wisdom earned in the dark, because those who've walked through hell don't fear the fire. They become the fire, and they burn with grace, with focus, with a quiet, steady fury that says, I don't need everything to be easy. I just need me to be ready. And now you are, ready to face whatever comes. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've mastered the one thing that matters most. You know how to keep moving forward. Not perfectly, not painlessly, but powerfully. So keep going. Carry the lessons. Carry the fire. Carry the light. And let every storm you overcome become proof that nothing will ever again have the power to hold you down. Because once you realize that the weight of the world cannot crush what's been forged from within you, stop fearing the weight. You welcome it. You say, let it come. Because now, difficulty doesn't intimidate you. It activates you. You don't hide from challenge, you hunt it. You don't pray for an easier path, you sharpen yourself for the one you've been called to walk. You rise earlier. You stay longer. You breathe deeper when others break. You move with a calm fire because you've earned it. Not with luck, but with battle-earned belief. And when others wonder how you do it, you won't need to explain. Your life will demonstrate it. Your eyes will carry the gravity of someone who's been there and didn't run. Your words will hit different because they come from experience, not theory. Your presence will shift rooms not because you seek attention, but because you carry intention. And the world listens to people who've done the hard work. So let this be your vow, that no matter what happens, you will not shrink. You will not retreat into doubt. You will not hand over your power to fear, failure, or fatigue. You will stand, rise, adapt, learn. You will overcome not someday, but every single day. Because now, that's who you are. Not a survivor, a builder, not a wanderer, a warrior, not a victim, a voice. The voice that reminds the world that difficulty is not the end. It is the evidence that something powerful is being born. And what's being born in you now cannot be stopped. Because what's rising in you now is not a phase, not a performance, not a temporary spark. It is a permanent fire. It is the result of every moment you wanted to give up and didn't. Every time you cried and got back up. Every yes to discipline when comfort screamed no. Every quiet morning when no one saw you grind, bleed, heal, rebuild. All of it, every single moment has led to this unshakable truth. You are not here to live a life of hesitation. You are here to move mountains with your presence, to command your days with precision, to stand so rooted in your resilience that the storms only make you stronger. Because the greatest transformations don't come with applause. They come in the silence of work done in private, the silence of wounds healing in the dark, the silence of decisions made when nobody's clapping. And from that silence, something unstoppable begins to emerge. Conviction, unbreakable, unshakable, unmistakable conviction. The kind that makes people stop and stare, not because you're loud, but because your life speaks so clearly. And what it says is this: I've been through fire, and I carry light. I've been through hell, and I've returned with heaven in my heart. I've been broken, but I was not buried. I was reborn. And now, you walk through life with a different posture, not seeking validation, not craving ease, but carrying the message that every difficulty life throws your way is fuel for your rise. And with that fuel, You no longer wait for the world to understand you. You become the world's reminder. That power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply shows up in the way you keep your word, in the way you handle pressure with poise, in the way you do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And when difficulty knocks again, because it always will, you'll open the door, not with fear, but with fire in your eyes. You'll smile, not because you're unscathed, but because you've trained for the storm. You've become the storm. And now, life's trials no longer define you. They refine you. They sharpen your edge. They deepen your roots. They elevate your name. Because now you understand deeply, fully, that greatness was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned. And you're no longer afraid of the price. You're willing to pay it. Every morning you wake up and choose purpose over passivity. Every night you lay down knowing you gave it all. Not for applause, not for titles, but because there is no other way to live for someone who has seen their power. So take this fire, take this grit, take this knowing, and walk back into the world like someone who knows the truth. That no matter what life throws at you, you are not only capable, you are called. You are not only strong enough to endure, you are brave enough to build. And from this moment on, there is no difficulty that can outrun the force of who you've become. And so you walk not as who you were, but as who you've chosen to become. With each step, you no longer drag the weight of doubt. You carry the authority of discipline. You no longer run from challenge. You run toward it because you know the higher the mountain, the greater the view. This world is not soft. It's not fair. It doesn't hand out peace or clarity. But you don't need handouts. You generate your own power. You create your own clarity. You choose your own path even when it's uphill, even when it's lonely, even when it breaks you open. Because now you know the break was never meant to end you. It was meant to reveal you. The pain was not the punishment. It was the pathway. And from it, you forge something divine, something that cannot be copied, cannot be sold, cannot be faked. A spirit that refuses to fold. You've taken every hit and turned it into horsepower. You've taken every loss and turned it into leverage. You've taken every detour and turned it into direction. So now when you face the next storm, you don't ask, will I survive? You ask, what strength is this storm here to reveal? Because your faith is now stronger than your fear. Your work ethic is now louder than your excuses. And your commitment, it is final, not a feeling, a decision. So stand tall, head high, eyes clear. You were not built for easy. You were built for elevation. And now that you've remembered who you are, there's nothing this life can throw at you that you can't rise through and rule over. Not anymore. And it ends not with silence, but with certainty that you forged in fire, anchored in truth, reborn in difficulty, are no longer just surviving life. You are leading it. Not by chance, not by circumstance, but by the unstoppable decision to rise again and again until your life becomes the proof that nothing can stop a soul that refuses to quit. The world won't hand you transformation. It will hand you tests. It will hand you silence. It will hand you rejection, betrayal, and failure dressed in 1,000 disguises. But transformation, that's your responsibility, your choice, your inner war. And here's the final brutal truth. Success doesn't care how much potential you have. It only cares how much pain you're willing to endure without giving up your purpose. You either find a way or you find an excuse. But both paths end with a legacy, one you're proud of or one you regret. Strategy number 1, take radical ownership. Not partial, not polite. Radical. Own every loss. Own every choice. Own every delay, every detour, every crack in your foundation. You cannot fix what you refuse to claim. You cannot rise above what you still blame. And when you stop saying, this happened to me, and start saying, this happened for me, now the game changes. Because now you've taken the power back. You're no longer a victim. You're a builder, a refiner, a sculptor of your own story. And your hands bruised, bloodied, blistered. They are the hands that will craft your legacy brick by brick. Strategy 2. Reframe the narrative. What if your greatest failure wasn't the curse, but the catalyst? What if the divorce, the debt, the breakdown, what if that was the exact pressure you needed to become the person you pretended to be before life made you earn it? Pain doesn't lie. It tells you exactly where your foundations are weak, where your beliefs are broken, where your character needs fire. So stop resisting it. Start reading it. Every failure is a script, a blueprint. But most people are too busy complaining to study it. You want to turn failure into success? Start by reading the very story it's trying to teach you. Strategy 3. Focus on internal alignment, not external approval. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they live divided. One part wants purpose, another wants comfort. One part wants to build, the other wants to be liked. One part wants truth, the other wants applause. But you cannot serve two masters. The man who is fully aligned, whose thoughts, actions, values, and vision all walk the same path, is unstoppable. He may move slowly, but every step compounds. He may go unseen, but every step is sacred. You must stop editing yourself to fit environments that were never designed for your growth. Be aligned, not liked. Strategy 4. Make peace with failure as your teacher, not your judge. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to evolve. You are here to sharpen, to refine, to be humbled and hardened and shaped by the storms life sends you. But that requires humility, not shame humility. Shame says, I am broken. Humility says, I have work to do. Shame keeps you in hiding. Humility keeps you in motion. One chains your potential, the other releases it. Strategy 5. Raise your standards before you raise your results. Most people think they need motivation to succeed. No, they need higher standards. They need to look at their current habits, associations, and daily choices and declare, this is no longer acceptable. Because the gap between failure and success is often not intelligence or luck, it's standards. What you tolerate becomes your template. What you accept in silence becomes the blueprint of your identity. You don't get what you want. You get what you demand from yourself first. Strategy 6. Audit your environment with ruthless honesty. You can't grow in soil that chokes your roots. You can't evolve surrounded by people who fear your expansion. The people who laugh at your failures are not the people who will cheer your victories. And some of them are in your circle not because they love you, but because they're comfortable with your limits. Clean house. Upgrade your influences. Follow energy, not history. You are not obligated to shrink for people who chose the path of least resistance. Strategy 7. Develop emotional mastery. You will never rise above the level of your emotional discipline. Failure is an emotional earthquake. If you are not grounded, it will consume you. But if you are trained, if you have built the muscle to feel deeply and still move forward, to face rejection and still act in alignment, you become unstoppable. Don't suppress your emotions. Master them. Let them pass through you, not control you. Feel them, learn from them, but never let them hijack your vision. Strategy 8. Invest more in wisdom than in validation. The world is drowning in opinions and starving for wisdom. Success leaves clues, but most people are too busy chasing trends to notice. Seek depth. Study the greats. Read the words of those who fell and rose again. Don't just seek mentors, seek mentorship. Don't just chase new, pursue true. The wisdom that will transform your life is often hidden in the discipline you've been avoiding. Strategy 9. Make process your obsession. Results are fleeting. Identity is forever. Most people chase the finish line, but those who win long-term, they fall in love with the training. They become addicted to refinement. They don't just work hard, they work wholly. Every rep, every repetition, every failure in the gym of life becomes sacred. If you're not falling in love with the process, you'll never survive the pain required to earn the prize. Strategy 10. Be consistent when it's boring. Success is not sexy. It's not viral. It's not entertaining. It's consistency in the shadows, repetition in silence, progress when no one claps. Anyone can show up when they're inspired. The greats show up when they're exhausted, overlooked, and under fire because greatness is built in the monotony. Boredom is not the enemy, distraction is. Strategy 11. Stop negotiating with doubt. Doubt is not your advisor, it's your assassin. The moment you start reasoning with it, you've already lost ground. You don't have to silence doubt. You have to starve it. Starve it of time, starve it of energy, starve it of attention. Feed your faith, feed your focus, feed your future. Starve everything else. Strategy 12. Turn your pain into purpose. Don't just move on, move through. Don't just get over it. Grow from it. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, it wasn't just pain. It was preparation. It was revelation. It was assignment. And once you learn to turn that pain into power, no storm will ever be wasted again. You become the kind of person who walks through fire, not to survive it, but to redeem it. Strategy 13. Build discipline like a sacred ritual, not just for work, for life. Discipline is the evidence that you love your future self. It's the language of self-respect. It's the secret handshake between your present and your potential. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, you cast a vote that says, I am worthy of the future I desire. Strategy 14. Fail forward faster. Don't delay the lesson. Don't fear the fall. Make the move. Take the shot. Launch before it's perfect. Say yes before you're ready. Life rewards velocity, backed by intention. While others wait for clarity, you create it. Because clarity doesn't precede movement. It follows it. Strategy 15. Anchor it all in identity. Who are you becoming? That is the real scoreboard. Not what you've built, but who you've become. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you align with. And when you build an identity that is congruent with greatness, success doesn't become the exception. It becomes the inevitable. Because at the end of the day, all strategy, all action, all progress flows from the same source who you believe you are. So believe differently, act accordingly, rise relentlessly. You are not your failure. You are not your delay. You are not your doubt. You are becoming. And the world, whether it knows it or not, is waiting for you to rise. Then listen with your whole being. Because what comes next is not just instruction, it's activation. You've walked through the storm. You've tasted the ashes of your own collapse. You've watched doors close, people walk, and dreams shatter in slow motion. And yet you're still breathing. Do you understand what that means? It means your story is still being written. It means the ink of your becoming hasn't dried. It means what you've survived is not a signal to shrink. It's a command to rise with fury, with fire, with resolve so deep it shakes the ground beneath your feet. Because here's the truth most never grasp. Turning failure into success is not about avoiding the pit. It's about becoming the kind of person who can build a ladder out of rubble, who can climb with cut hands and weary bones and say, I may bleed, but I never break. So if you're still breathing, build again. Build with what you've got. Build with the tools life gave you: pain, patience, silence, scars, instinct, wisdom. Build even if the world isn't watching. Build even if no one claps. Build until the bricks you laid in darkness become the foundation others stand on in the light. You've got to stop waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, waiting for the pain to stop. It doesn't stop, but you get stronger. You stop needing it to end, and you start using it. Because power comes from progress, and progress comes from persistence. Not the loud kind, not the glamorous kind, but the kind that keeps showing up after failure, after heartbreak, after rejection. The kind that walks into the fire again and again and again, saying, I will either come out forged or I will not come out at all. You've come too far to stop now. And yes, there are still more battles to fight, more wounds to take, more nights of silence, more days where the progress feels microscopic. But if you keep going, if you refuse to fold something, divine happens. You wake up one day, and the pain you thought would break you became the pressure that built you. You look in the mirror, and the failure you thought would define you became the furnace that refined you. You see your reflection, not as the person who lost, but as the warrior who refused to die in the valley. That's what this is about. Not just turning failure into success, but turning it into strength, into standard, into spiritual currency that can never be taken from you. This is not about chasing what the world calls success. This is about building the kind of soul the world can't ignore. Because when that soul speaks, even your silence shakes rooms. And when that soul moves, even your failures make way for victory. So keep building, keep rising, keep walking like you were chosen for more, because you were. Then let's keep going deeper, harder, sharper. Because now we're beyond motivation, beyond feel-good words. Now we're into the marrow of what separates the rare from the average, the legendary from the forgotten. Those who fold in failure from those who forge kingdoms out of it. Listen, failure was never meant to stop you. It was meant to strip you. Strip away the comfort. Strip away the lies. Strip away the illusion that the path would be easy. It was meant to burn away the ego, the laziness, the fantasies, so what's left is pure, authentic, battle-tested, bulletproof. And now you are here, standing in that purifying fire. But this next part, it's critical, because many rise for a season only to fall again. Not because they weren't worthy, not because they weren't gifted, but because they forgot what forged them. So strategy 16, never forget the cost. Never forget the nights you cried in silence. Never forget the jobs you worked that stole your energy, but paid for your dream. Never forget the betrayal that forced you to believe in yourself when no one else would. Never forget the hunger, the isolation, the rejection. Because when success begins to whisper, take it easy. You've made it. You better remember exactly what you walked through to get here. Gratitude is not just about being thankful, it's about being rooted, grounded, connected to the source of your rise. And that source, it wasn't applause. It wasn't luck. It was your decision to not die in defeat. You rose, and that rise must be protected. Strategy 17, protect the standard at all costs. The most dangerous lie is not that you'll fail. The most dangerous lie is that you can start to relax before the mission is complete. And make no mistake, you are on a mission to become everything you were designed to be, to leave nothing buried inside you, to live in such a way that death finds you empty, not full of untapped greatness. So when you reach a new level, raise the standard again. When success begins to flow, raise the intensity, raise the focus, raise the discipline, because success is rented, and the rent is due every day. Most people downgrade their dreams to fit their discipline, but the rare ones, they upgrade their discipline to match their vision. Be rare. Strategy 18. Teach from your scars, not your wounds. Everyone's loud when they're angry. Everyone wants to post when they're hurt. But wisdom waits. Wisdom doesn't bleed on others, it builds from the bleeding. If failure taught you something real, teach it, but teach it after you've healed. After you've processed, after you've turned the pain into perspective. Don't infect others with your bitterness. Inspire them with your breakthrough. Your scars are sacred, and the world is starving for voices that have walked through fire and lived to speak life. Strategy 19, plant seeds in your winter. Most people wait for the perfect season to begin. They wait for motivation, for support, for clarity. But winners, builders, they plant when it's dark, when it's cold, when there's no guarantee. They sow in silence. They plant in faith. And while the world sleeps, they're preparing for a harvest no one sees coming. Don't wait for spring. Create it. Strategy 20. Move with urgency, not anxiety. There's a difference. Anxiety says, I'm behind. I'm not enough. I'm out of time. But urgency says, I'm here for a reason and I refuse to waste another second. Your clock is ticking, not in fear, in fire, in purpose, in destiny. Every delay is disrespect to the calling that was placed on your life. So move like your future depends on it, because it does. And if no one understands your urgency, that's okay. They didn't survive your storm. They didn't wrestle with your regret. They don't know what it cost you to believe again. But you do. And that's enough. Because in the end, it's not about proving anyone wrong. It's not about being liked, praised, or admired. It's about becoming undeniable. Undeniable in your effort. Undeniable in your growth. Undeniable in your character, your mindset, your execution. So that when the next failure comes, and it will, you don't question yourself. You don't shrink. You smile because you know exactly what to do. Then brace yourself, because what comes now is not just the conclusion, it is the crowning. This is the moment where every setback is given a name, where every loss is seen for what it was, not a punishment, but a prophecy. The moment where every scar you carry begins to glow with purpose, and you realize it was all building you. The silence taught you how to listen to yourself. The rejection taught you how to stand alone. The bankruptcy taught you how to rebuild from nothing. The heartbreak taught you how to protect your soul. The failure taught you how to rise without applause. And now you are here, forged, focused, and free. Not because you had it easy, but because you chose not to die in the difficulty. You chose to rise. And that rise is not just for you anymore. Because now you're carrying more than your own dream. You're carrying the blueprint for those still stuck in their pain. You're carrying the map for the ones who haven't seen the light yet. You're carrying legacy. Legacy isn't built in wins. Legacy is built in the weight you carry when no one else sees, and you carry it anyway. Because you knew the climb wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about becoming the kind of person who could lift others from the bottom. So don't ever think for 1 second that your pain was wasted. Don't ever let anyone convince you that your failure disqualifies you. Your failure qualified you. It qualified you for wisdom. It qualified you for depth. It qualified you to speak with authority, not because you studied success, but because you survived the war to earn it. So now, walk. Walk like someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to give. Walk like someone who's been refined by fire and now carries light. Walk like someone who's been through hell and came back holding the keys. Let the world watch. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them whisper, that's the one who turned failure into fire. Because that's who you are now. You are not broken. You are built. You are not ruined. You are reborn. And your future? Your future is not a maybe. It's a must. So go. Not timidly, not cautiously, but boldly, unapologetically, unshakably. Go create. Go build. Go lead. Go become everything that failure tried to keep buried. And when you reach the mountaintop, don't just plant your flag. Plant your roots. Because you didn't come this far to visit greatness. You came to live there. Now go take your place. This is just the beginning. Value does not chase you. It does not knock politely. It does not beg for your attention. Value is built quietly, consistently, deeply. And wealth, true wealth, is not the result of chasing money. It's the consequence of becoming valuable in a world addicted to shortcuts. You don't become rich by wanting more. You become rich by becoming more. More skilled, more disciplined, more aligned, more irreplaceable. And the path to that level of value is not easy. But it is simple. It begins with the decision to stop blaming the economy, your boss, your background, and start building yourself. The first step, raise your standards. Your life is a reflection of what you tolerate. Your income, your fitness, your mindset, they are all a mirror of your personal standards, not your goals, not your wishes, your standards. If you want to be more valuable, Stop asking for better outcomes and start demanding more from yourself. Stop negotiating with laziness. Stop compromising with weakness. Stop flirting with average. Standards are the soil from which all value grows. Raise them or stay the same. The second step, master your time. Time is not money. Time is more valuable than money because you can earn money back. But when time is gone, it's gone. Forever. You want to be rich? Then stop acting like you have forever. Audit your hours. Are they buying your future or paying for your distractions? Are you building something or binging your potential away? The wealthy don't spend time. They invest it. And the way you spend your next 24 hours will tell me everything about how serious you are about wealth. The third step, sharpen your thinking. A dull mind cannot create a sharp life. You cannot out-earn your thought patterns. Most people think on autopilot, lazy, reactive, outdated loops of fear and limitation. You must think like an architect, precise, intentional, bold. Read every day, reflect, journal, break your old beliefs with better ones. Because if your mind doesn't upgrade, neither will your bank account. The fourth step, solve bigger problems. Money flows to value, and value flows to solutions. If you want more wealth, solve more meaningful problems. The world pays those who take the weight off its shoulders. So stop avoiding hard problems. Run toward them. Learn skills that solve them. Build tools that fix them. Become a weapon against complexity. If your goal is wealth, your obsession must be usefulness. The fifth step, learn relentlessly. You cannot be valuable in a fast-moving world with a slow-growing mind. You must read more than you relax. You must learn faster than you lounge. You must out-educate the competition. And not just with books, with mentors, with experience, with feedback, with failure. Wealth belongs to the obsessed learner, the one who sees every moment as a classroom, every loss as a lesson, every day as a seminar. You can outlearn your past. You can outlearn your limitations, but only if you decide to make learning a way of life. The sixth step, build rare skills, not common ones, not replaceable ones, rare ones, the kind of skills that make people say, we need you. Sales, strategy, leadership, coding, copywriting, communication, persuasion, systems, thinking. Pick one, master it, then stack another. The wealthiest people don't have the most degrees, they have the rarest combinations of ability. And when you become rare, you become indispensable. The seventh step, deliver results, not promises. The marketplace doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for outcomes. Don't talk about what you're going to do. Do it. Prove it. Repeat it. Become someone whose name means certainty, who says, I'll handle it, and does. Your brand is not your logo. Your brand is the trail of results you leave behind. Be the one who gets it done. Every time. No noise, no drama, just impact. And your value will multiply in every room you walk into. The eighth step, control your emotions. No one follows chaos. No one pays for drama. If your emotions control your decisions, your reactions, your reputation, you are not yet ready for wealth. The wealthy have mastered the art of emotional neutrality, not because they don't feel, but because they don't let feelings drive the car. Train yourself to be calm under pressure, focused under chaos, kind under fire. Because if you can stay steady, you can lead. And leaders attract wealth. The ninth step, discipline your habits. Your habits are the architecture of your value. What you do when no one's watching will determine what people see when everyone is. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the purest form of self-respect. Early mornings, clean eating, focused work, clear intentions. That's the rhythm of the rare. And if your days are built on discipline, your future will be built on dominance. The 10th step, Play long. Term games. Short-term thinking is poverty thinking. Get rich quick is the path to stay broke forever. The wealthy play long games. They build reputations, not just revenue. They plant trees they won't sit under. They invest in relationships, in brand, in compound interest. If you want to be valuable, think in decades. Build something that outlives your impulses, and your wealth will outlive you. The 11th step. Surround yourself with builders. Your environment will either accelerate your value or extinguish it. Look around. Who are you spending time with? Complainers, critics, consumers, or creators, builders, doers? You don't need cheerleaders. You need challenge. People who call you up, who raise your standards, who live what they preach. Because the people around you will either stretch your vision or shrink it. Choose wisely, because your net worth will always rise or fall with your network. The 12th step. Own something. You cannot become truly wealthy renting your life away. Own equity. Own skills. Own your schedule. Own your name. You don't get rich by just working hard. You get rich by building something that works while you sleep. Start now. Start small. But start owning. Because ownership is the foundation of leverage. And leverage is the engine of wealth. The 13th step. Multiply your energy. You are not your bank account. You are your battery. If your energy is low, your thinking is weak, your leadership is dull, your creativity is gone, protect your energy like it's oxygen. Train, sleep, fuel, recover. Energy is not a luxury. It's currency. And if you want to be valuable in the marketplace, show up like someone who runs on fire. The 14th step. Speak with precision. Words move the world. They inspire. They sell. They lead. They shape. If your communication is sloppy, your influence will be too. Speak less. Say more. Make every word land. The wealthy are not the loudest, they are the clearest. Train your speech until it cuts like a sword and heals like a balm. And people will pay to be around your clarity. The 15th step. Operate from identity. Stop trying to act like a millionaire. Start being one. Not in lifestyle, in character. Decide who you are. Then live like it's true before the money shows up. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you've become. Become the kind of person who creates wealth as a byproduct of who they are. Not desperate, not needy, not fake. Solid, grounded, proven. And then, when the money comes, it won't change you. It will amplify you. Because by then, the wealth won't be the prize. You will be. And when you become the prize, truly, deeply, unshakably, the world begins to rearrange itself around you. Opportunities find you. People seek your voice, your presence, your leadership. Not because of flash, but because of foundation. Because you carry something most don't. Proof. Proof that you've done the work. Proof that you've walked through the fire and didn't just survive, you leveled up. Because real value doesn't need a pitch. It has presence. And real wealth doesn't need a spotlight. It shines on its own. This is the final layer most never reach when becoming valuable isn't a tactic, it's your identity. When your worth isn't tied to what you own, but to who you've become. This is when the game changes. Because now, everything you touch gets better. Everything you build carries your fingerprint, clear, focused, powerful. Every room you enter starts to shift, not from your noise, but from your calm. Every conversation deepens, not because you say more, but because you mean more. This is how the greats move. Not with hype, but with history. They have receipts not just of what they've earned, but what they've overcome. They have scars turned to strategies. They have discipline that feels like gravity. And they have one thing you can't fake: integrity. Because here's the final truth, the kind of truth that echoes through generations. Wealth built without character is poverty in disguise. But value built on principle That's legacy. So if you truly want to be wealthy, not just in your account, but in your name, your time, your relationships, your life, then stop trying to get ahead and start digging deeper into your soul, into your habits, into your commitment, until every part of you aligns with the future you say you want, until the gap between who you are and who you're becoming closes. And when it does, that's when the real wealth begins. Not because you found a secret, but because you became the source. Because once you become the source of clarity, energy, excellence, and execution, everything changes. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You stop waiting. You start commanding. You stop surviving in someone else's story and begin authoring your own. That is the essence of value. It is earned, not given. It is built, not borrowed. It is lived, not faked. And the people who understand this don't just get ahead, they stay ahead. Not because of luck, but because they've built themselves to be indispensable. Their word is law. Their results are consistent. Their standards are permanent. And when the winds of change blow, because they always do, these people don't panic. They pivot. They adapt. They lead. Because value isn't rigid. It's dynamic. It evolves. It expands. It adjusts without losing its identity. And you, if you followed this path, are no longer just someone with potential. You're producing. You're not wondering when it will happen. You're building it day by day. You're not fantasizing about success. You're forging it in the small, in the silent, in the places no one claps. That's where real wealth is born, in the quiet discipline that doesn't beg for recognition. Because true builders don't just want to be seen. They want to last. And when you build for longevity, when you care more about impact than attention, something sacred happens. You stop measuring by dollars and you start measuring by difference. What you leave behind, what you lift in others, what you've become in the process. And when that becomes your metric, wealth is inevitable, because the universe always rewards those who operate from truth. So build with truth, lead with fire, deliver with honor, and rise every day with this question etched into your spirit. How can I become more valuable today than I was yesterday? Because if you ask it, live it, embody it, you'll never have to chase wealth again. It will chase you. And when it does, when wealth starts to knock on your door, not because you screamed for it, but because you prepared for it, don't be surprised. Receive it like a warrior greets the sunrise, calm, ready, unmoved by the arrival, because the becoming already happened. By then, money is no longer your mission. It is your megaphone. It amplifies who you are. It fuels your vision. It strengthens your reach, but it no longer defines your worth, because you already did that. You defined it every time you chose discipline over distraction. Every time you said yes to the work and no to the noise. Every time you showed up early, stayed late, learned again, tried again, refined again. This rare, refined version of you is what the world pays for. Not the product, not the pitch, but the presence behind it. That presence is the final advantage. The one thing that can't be outsourced, replicated, or scaled without you. And that's the ultimate value. Not what you sell, but who you are when you sell it. A person of depth in a world of decoration. A person of mastery in a world of mimicry. A person of substance in a world addicted to style. So don't you dare shrink now. Don't you dare dim down just because others aren't ready. Don't wait for applause. Don't beg for validation. Don't look around to see who's watching. Do the work. Become the value. And then walk through life as only you can, steady, focused, wealthy in every way. Because when you've built your life on value, you don't just change your bank account. You change your bloodline. And that's the real inheritance, not just money in the hands of your children, but fire in their spirit. Not just assets in their name, but excellence in their nature. Because they watched you. They watched how you moved, when no one believed in you. They watched how you worked when you had nothing but a vision and a vow. They watched how you handled losses with poise, not panic. How you turned breakdowns into blueprints. How you kept your soul intact while building a fortune. And now, they know. They know what value looks like in human form. They know that wealth isn't something you find. It's something you become. And you became it. Not through shortcuts, not through show, but through sweat, sacrifice, and standards that never slipped. This is the moment most people miss. That the real reward is not the thing you get. It's the person you become to get it. And once you become that person, no one can take it from you. Not a downturn, not a divorce, not a disaster. Because your value is no longer situational. It's systemic. It's in your bones. It's in the way you breathe, speak, build, and believe. So build higher, speak clearer, give deeper, lead louder. Because now you understand. You were never chasing money. You were activating destiny. And wealth, true wealth, was simply the echo of who you dared to become. And when destiny echoes back, it doesn't whisper. It roars. Because by then, the world isn't just responding to your ambition, it's aligning with your authority. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. And there's something unmistakable about a person who's done the inner work, not once, not twice, but daily, until it reshaped their entire world. You can see it in their eyes. You can feel it in their energy. You can hear it in the way they speak, not from theory, but from truth. That kind of person doesn't need to chase opportunity. They attract it. They don't scramble for attention, they command it. They don't fear competition, they invite it, knowing that their value is not just in what they do, but in who they've become. And this is the final unlock. When you stop asking, how do I make more? And start asking, how do I become more? When you realize that the greatest investment you'll ever make is not in stocks, not in real estate, not in crypto, but in you, in your standards, in your skills, in your systems, in your soul. That's when everything shifts. That's when you stop playing the game and start rewriting it. So build every day, without excuse, without distraction, without apology. Build the mindset, build the value, build the wealth. And then when the world asks how you did it, you'll smile. Not with arrogance, but with authority. Because you'll know it was never luck. It was never magic. It was never a shortcut. It was simply this. You became someone the world could not ignore. With no applause, no performance, just power. Because you've walked the full path from intention to transformation, from noise to value, from chasing wealth to becoming the source of it. And now you know with absolute certainty, you don't need more chances. You are the chance. You don't need more time. You own your time. You don't need permission. You've already earned your place. So rise and move through this life like a builder, like a leader, like someone who understands that value isn't what you hold. It's what you are. And when you become that fully, boldly, permanently, wealth will never leave your side again. Let's begin. You didn't fail because you weren't smart enough. You didn't fail because the world was unfair. You didn't fail because you didn't try hard. You failed because people didn't trust you. And if that hurts to hear, good. Because truth is the first step to transformation. Trust is everything. It's the foundation of leadership, the currency of connection, the engine behind every great relationship, career, business, and legacy. Without trust, your talent means nothing. Without trust, your words fall flat. Without trust, your vision goes unseen. And here's the harsh part. Most people never say out loud. If your life isn't moving forward, it might be because people don't trust you yet. So let's tell the truth. You said you'd follow through and you didn't. You said you'd show up on time and you didn't. You said you'd be consistent and you weren't. You said, I got this, but then disappeared when it mattered most. And now you wonder why people hesitate, why they stop calling, why they smile but don't support, why they nod but never invest. It's not because they're against you. It's because they don't believe you. And belief, that's earned. One decision at a time, one moment at a time, one brick at a time. So ask yourself, what's it like to trust you? Are you the kind of person others can bet their time on, their money on, their reputation on? Or are you all promise, no proof? All motivation, no consistency? Because trust isn't about grand gestures. It's not built with loud words or clever branding. It's built with quiet integrity. It's what you do when nobody's watching. It's whether you deliver when it's inconvenient. It's whether you keep your word when it costs you. If people can't trust your yes or your no, they'll never trust your vision. And maybe that's why the door didn't open. Not because you weren't worthy, but because you weren't ready. Because if you can't be trusted in the small things, how can you be trusted with the big ones? Here's the truth no one tells you. Trust is not a feeling, it's a reputation. And reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what are they saying? Reliable, solid, under pressure, rock steady, quietly consistent, always follows through, doesn't overpromise, doesn't underdeliver, just shows up and delivers every time. Or are they saying something else? Flaky, all talk, nice, but you never know what you'll get. Disappears when it counts. Can't count on them. Your name carries a weight. Light or heavy, that's your choice. Because trust is your brand, not your logo, not your feed, not your pitch, your character. And here's what no one tells the dreamers. Your dreams won't come true until you become trustworthy enough to hold them. So build trust. Build it when it's boring. Build it when you're tired. Build it when nobody's watching. Build it when there's no applause. And if you broke trust before, you can rebuild it. It won't be quick. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because when people start trusting you again, doors don't just open, they stay open. And the deeper your trust, the wider your reach. You want leadership? Earn trust. You want loyalty? Earn trust. You want influence, opportunity, growth, freedom? Earn trust. It's not sexy, but it's real. So from now on, show up when you say you will. Deliver what you said you would. Say what you mean what you say. And when you mess up, own it. No excuses, no hiding, no blaming, just radical responsibility. Because that's the kind of person the world follows. That's the kind of person teams rally behind. That's the kind of person strangers believe in. That's the kind of person you were born to become. So build trust, slowly, daily, privately, deeply. Because when trust is in place, momentum is unstoppable. And when it's broken, no amount of talent will save you. Let your habits speak louder than your hype. Let your actions scream louder than your ambition. Let your integrity make promises. Your mouth doesn't need to. And remember, people don't remember what you said. They remember how you showed up, how you stayed solid, how you owned it, how you made them feel safe. Because when people feel safe around you, they follow, they invest, they commit, they promote you, they open doors, they change your life. Not because you begged, not because you sold them, but because you built something rare. You built trust. And when you've built trust, truly built it, no failure can break you. Because you're not building a moment. You're building a reputation. You're building something that lasts longer than the paycheck, the title, the hype. You're building you. Now go earn it. Every hour, every interaction, every decision. Be the person people trust, even when they don't have to. Especially when they don't have to. Because that's how you go from overlooked to undeniable. That's how you go from forgotten to unforgettable. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to flex your muscles. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Because when your mind is strong, truly strong, the room feels it before you even speak. A strong mind doesn't chase attention. It commands respect, not through arrogance, but through undeniable presence. You see, most people build bodies. Some build brands. But very few ever build the one thing that changes everything. A mind so solid, so unshakable, so brutally clear, it terrifies mediocrity. Why? Because a strong mind doesn't need agreement. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It doesn't panic when the plan falls apart. It adapts. It recalibrates. It rises. You want to become unstoppable? Then forget impressing others. Forget fitting in. Forget being liked. Build a mind that doesn't flinch. Build a mind that says, this storm, let it come. Build a mind that scares people, not because you're cruel, but because you're clear. Because your silence is louder than their shouting. Because your calm exposes their chaos. Because your presence makes them realize they haven't done the work. And that kind of power, it isn't born. It's forged. Then let's build it. Because a strong mind isn't something you're born with, it's something you train. And the first step, embrace discomfort like it's your mentor. Most people run from discomfort. They label it as pain. They escape into distraction, into comfort, into anything that numbs the sting. But a strong mind, it runs toward it. Not because it enjoys suffering, but because it understands that discomfort is data. It's proof that you're stretching. It's evidence that you're outgrowing your limits. It's the raw material of transformation. A weak mind says, this is too hard. A strong mind says, this is how I grow. Every challenge becomes training. Every setback becomes feedback. Every no becomes fuel. And when you stop avoiding discomfort, you stop avoiding power. Step 2, ruthlessly control your input. You can't build a strong mind with junk thoughts, just like you can't build a strong body with junk food. If your mind is constantly flooded with gossip, fear, noise, and comparison, how can you expect it to think clearly, create powerfully, or act decisively? A strong mind is a guarded gate. It doesn't let everything in. It filters. It chooses. It protects its peace like a fortress. Because once your attention is hijacked, your clarity is gone. And without clarity, you can't lead. You can't build. You can't stand. Want mental strength? Then master what you watch. Master what you listen to. Master who you allow to speak into your world. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do have to guard your influence because your mind becomes what it consumes. Step 3, train your focus like it's your life force, because it is. Distraction is the enemy of power, not because it's loud, but because it's subtle. It doesn't destroy you with force, it erodes you with fragments. One notification at a time, one scroll at a time, one excuse, one delay, one mental tab left open for too long. And before you know it, your mind is no longer yours. But a strong mind, it's not just focused. It's ruthlessly focused. Because here's the truth. Where your focus goes, your life follows. Where your attention flows, your identity forms. And if you don't train your focus, the world will train it for you. You want to scare mediocrity? Then lock in. Set blocks of time where you're unreachable. Cut off digital noise. Silence the world so you can hear yourself think, so you can build the internal stamina to stay locked into a task long after the world would have quit. Because this world doesn't need more people with ideas. It needs people with the concentration to execute them. Focus isn't something you have. It's something you practice. And the more you practice, the less space you give to doubt, to drama, to distraction, And when that becomes who you are, people feel it. They don't understand it, but they respect it. They can't manipulate you. They can't shake you. They can't pull you into every crisis because you're anchored. Step 4, make your word law. If you say you're going to do it, do it. Even if no one sees. Even if no one claps. Even if you're the only one holding yourself to that standard. Why? Because a weak mind negotiates with itself. A strong mind, it executes. It doesn't wait to feel like it. It doesn't beg for motivation. It moves because it said it would. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect. And when your word becomes law, you stop chasing confidence. You become it. You embody it. You no longer need to convince anyone of your strength because your consistency speaks louder than your voice ever could. Then, let's finish what we started. Because building a strong mind doesn't end with discipline. It evolves into something deeper, something rare. Step 5. Master your emotions or they will master you. Understand this. Your mind cannot be strong if your emotions control your decisions. And emotional strength is not about being cold, stoic, or distant. It's about ownership. It's being able to feel the fear and still move forward. To feel the pressure and stay calm anyway. To feel the weight of the world and not let it bend you out of shape. A weak mind reacts. A strong mind responds. It sees the storm and chooses how to sail through it, not how to scream at the waves. You want real power? Then don't let anger speak for you. Don't let fear drive your choices. Don't let disappointment shut you down. Train your emotional muscle. Pause. Observe. Breathe before you respond. Own your internal world so deeply that no external event can steal your peace. Because when you master your emotions, you become unshakable. You become the eye of the hurricane. You become the stillness in a world addicted to reaction. And that calm terrifies people because it shows them what's possible when someone actually does the inner work. Step 6, choose solitude over noise. Most people can't sit alone in silence. They need constant stimulation, a screen, a voice, a distraction. Because if they're quiet for too long, they'll hear the truth they've been avoiding. But a strong mind seeks solitude. It chooses stillness, not because it's easy, but because it's where clarity lives. Because silence sharpens vision. Because alone is where you meet your real self. You want to scare the world? Be the one who's comfortable with themselves, who doesn't need a crowd to feel validated, who doesn't need attention to feel alive, who can disappear for a season and come back 10 times sharper. That kind of person, that's who changes rooms. That's who shifts cultures. That's who leads. And finally, step 7, think long, act daily. The strongest minds are vision-driven. They don't need instant results to stay committed. They don't need overnight applause. They plant deeply and build slowly because they're not after a quick win. They're building an empire that lasts. They move with urgency but never panic. They move with pace but never desperation because they know where they're going. And nothing can rush a mind that has already decided its outcome. So build that mind, brick by brick, habit by habit, thought by thought. And one day, you won't need to say a word. You'll walk into a room, and your presence alone will say, I am not here to be impressive. I am here because I've built something that cannot be shaken. Not loud, not flashy, just unignorable. That's the kind of mind that scares everyone because it can't be moved. And when you build that, you don't just win. You redefine what power looks like.